Patrick, we started 2023 talking about ways that Odyssey can continue to grow in the year, and you really focused on three pillars of the community and work that can be done. Can you just discuss those three?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's exciting to be here in 2023, and it's a good opportunity for us to reflect on some of the foundational elements that we can collaborate on together. And so kicking off the year, wanted to see our community focus in three key pillars that I think we all tremendously benefit from. The first is to increase the transparency and maturity of our vocabulary development and evaluation process. And it was great to have Anna Ostropolitz lay out how she plans to lead that effort, starting first with a landscape assessment that we are conducting, where we're really looking for the community to provide us inputs about how they're using the vocabulary, whether it be for ETLing their data, developing software tools, or conducting clinical research. We want to understand what has been the experience, what have been the challenges, and what are the opportunities for us to improve the vocabulary. And so Anna's kicked that off this month, and we look forward to collecting insights from the community. We're going to use that to drive how we prioritize the vocabulary activities moving forward. The second pillar that we discussed is to increase the transparency and maturity of our Odyssey data network. And so I was really glad to see that Claire Blacketer is leading the charge there. And she's kicked off our data network work group, where we're talking about the processes that we're going to use to establish a catalog across the entire Odyssey community and to apply database diagnostics, which was an exciting tool that we released late last year, but now it's an opportunity for us to apply that across the entire data network. And then the third pillar that we touched on is to increase the adoption and the ease of use of the Hades packages and other Odyssey open source analytic tools. And one of the big opportunities that we see there, and appreciative that Lee Evans is leading the charge on this effort, is that we need to be able to expand our central infrastructure to enable testing across all of the Odyssey tools across each of the database platforms that we support. And so we're going to be working with the community to make sure that people communicate to us what platforms they're using, what challenges they're experiencing, and for us to make sure that we're supporting the community as fully as possible.
Another thing that was addressed in that first call is the different collaboration opportunities and activities that Odyssey can have this year. And there are two that are coming up that I think would be good to talk about right now. And one is the Save Our Sisyphus challenge. And that is, scheduled for March and April and May, but there is a need for people to provide research questions now over the next month. So can you talk about why we're doing that and what you're looking for from the community?
Absolutely. So I highlighted these pillars about vocabulary and data network and open source tools, but really those are foundations to allow us to actually achieve our mission, which is to generate evidence. And so that's all about conducting network studies. And what we recognize is that network studies are hard to do alone, and we need to be able to support each other. And so the Save Our Sisyphus Challenge is an opportunity for the community to come together to share ideas of important clinical questions that we believe we could generate meaningful evidence to help the patients that we serve. And for us to, as a community, to walk through all the steps of doing a network study through database diagnostics, phenotype development and evaluation, analysis design, network execution, evidence synthesis, reviewing diagnostics, and ultimately interpreting the results to disseminate the findings. And so the Save Our Sisyphus Challenge is an opportunity for us to collectively learn about each of those steps week by week. But it's kicked off now with this explicit open survey that we're hoping people will contribute to by sharing their ideas of what network studies that they would like to see done. Really thankful that Jody Ann McClellan is offered to shepherd us in the community through this process, and looking forward to getting input from all of you about what clinical ideas we should tackle as a community.
More immediate activity is the second time we're doing a Phenotype February, and you just addressed this, so that presentation is part of this newsletter. But just talk a little bit about the value of Phenotype February and what you hope can be accomplished this coming month.
Absolutely. So phenotype development evaluation really is critical to all of our evidence generating needs, and yet is sometimes an overlooked area where we need to bring the community together to really advance the science of phenotyping and increase the content that we have available to the community to take advantage of. So as we announced, we're conducting Phenotype February again here in 2023. I provided a demonstration of all of the steps we can walk through phenotype development evaluation, and highlighted how Gautam Rao and Azza Shoabi are going to lead our community throughout the month of February through the processes of, given that a phenotype has been developed, diagnostics have been run, and evaluation has been performed, how do we actually do a critical peer review to build confidence in that result? Also, for those phenotypes that have been developed and executed, how do we actually write up an appropriate evaluation? And then for those definitions that we have a definition, how do we actually generate diagnostics to interpret? And going all the way back to the basics of how do we start with a clinical idea and build a phenotype that's worth considering? And so I'm really excited by the way that Gautam and Azza in the Phenotype Development Work Group have laid out a plan for February that's going to give everybody an opportunity to contribute to real phenotypes that we're developing, as well as to engage in a series of debates about topics in the phenotype space so that we can all reach alignment and develop our skills together.
Yeah, these February community calls should be terrific because not only are we going to get these weekly updates from Phenotype February, but also we're going to hear from the work groups about not only what they're doing, but the OKRs, their goals for 2023. So I really look forward to hearing those as well. And of course, one of the great activities of the year is the OHDSI Symposium, and we were excited to announce that the dates for that event for this year, the Global Symposium, will be October 20th to 22nd. So hopefully everybody will save the date. Looking forward to that event as well. A lot to do, a lot coming this month. It should be a fun one. So thank you for joining, Patrick.
Thanks, Craig. Science!